Okay, this is an update on the French door project. I have started to add house wrap, and um, I started adding it at the lowest possible point where it needs to be added. And when I had torn all this down, the previous house wrap I'd cut off right at that level. I should have tried to keep more margin, but what I've been able to do here is push this house wrap, shingling it over the house wrap that was previously there. And I got it down about 4 inches because that's how far it goes to the nearest screw. Okay, I worked it down. It took quite a while. I had to do it gradually across the whole thing. I used a piece as large as I could for the lowest level and still have a rectangular piece. And that wraps right down into that corner. Okay, I did remove this brace that I had holding the deck up, and I reattached it. So I have 3 penetrations there. That's not a big deal because I can fix that later. It's the largest haven't I had this 33-foot Tyvek from previous projects, so this is what I'm using. We'll probably have to buy some more before I finish, but probably what I'll do is continue to add it going up, overlapping, until I get to the highest point. Now, I have to stop somewhere because I'm not going to completely go up, and you can see that the previous building, the weather wrap or the house building paper has failed. So when I get to the highest point, which I will tear down, then I will have to put on some flashing tape just to secure that location, because if I were to simply stop, any leak from a point higher up, the water from that would penetrate down. And I have made that mistake before on previous repair projects where I would take off sheathing, do a repair, add some Tyvek or building paper underneath, put the clapboards back on. But what I didn't do is secure the top edge. So any failure at a higher point on the wall, the water would run down and actually go behind the Tyvek or whatever flashing I'm using. That's a failure in the shingling, and that actually happened right on this wall, for example. That was a previous problem because the window that was in here did fail. Water ran down, and then it got to a point where there was a previous repair, and that previous repair only it had this Tyvek, but only up to a certain level, and then after that, higher than that level where I'd done the repair, I didn't seal it up to the against the wood. Okay, the best possible job, of course, I could reside the entire house, but you've got to stop somewhere, and I'll have to work piece by piece as I finish that section. I'll either, but my plan probably is to just do the section around the door, get the door in, then worry about that. But I have some extra time in the schedule, so I do want to secure that by getting some Tyvek underneath that clapboard, and or combination of that and the flashing tape to secure. And I can't perfect that weatherproofing underneath the clapboards, but I can do the best that I can for the pieces that I have removed. I simply removed the whole pieces that were in the way of my previous repair, and you see some of those were quite long. And so I will have a process of having to put these pieces back in. That'll come later. Okay, I cut the Tyvek as according to the instructions with the so-called eye cut. I wrapped them around and stapled it. I stapled it about every 8 inches or so. I can add more staples into the field area. I used the tape. I got some of this Tyvek tape. Um, and I patched up some previous holes. I'm not sure how important that is, but I had the tape and I could do it, so I did it. And because this Tyvek has been out previously stapled, I was actually using it even just to protect this section from the weather just by putting it as an overlayment. In the section of the French door, I was lucky enough to find this large sheet of plastic that I've been using. Okay. So anyway, this is the first step. I'll have to do a couple other pieces to work this up higher. And then when this is finally wrapped, I can worry about the next steps in putting the door in, but I'm really still at step one, rough opening with house wrap. Okay? So that's all. Thanks.